Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Dr. Suhana and my fellow classmates. I am Nur Audra Laili binti Muhammad Sabri. As the representative from our group will explain about our assignment Sewerage works. Our group members are Nur Fazana Farhin binti Nasharuddin, Nur Audra Laili binti Muhammad Sabri, Nur Ruhil Nadira binti Muhammad Helmi, Syami Amjad bin Muhammad Masrur, Wan Muhammad Syamil Hazib bin Wan Azahari. We are from group 3. So, before we start, let's watch a short clip. Our project title is Cadangan Pembangunan Rumah Teres 2 tingkat di atas lot PT 147848, Lorong Raja Nong, Mukim Kelang, Daerah Kelang, Kelang Bandar Diraja, Selangor Darul Ehsan. Now, we are looking at the area of sewerage to be measured for this proposed project. As you can see, we have plotted the main component consists of 8 line sewer pipe and 9 manhole. This is stacking off list for the sewer pipe. The pipe used for this proposed project is 225 mm diameter vitrified clay pipe class A bedding. Number 1. Excavate trench maximum depth not exceeding 2 meter, average depth 1.5 meter deep. Number 2. Excavate trench maximum depth not exceeding 2 meter, average depth 1.75 meter deep. Number 3. Excavate trench maximum depth not exceeding 4 meter, average depth 2.25 meter deep. Number 4. Excavate trench maximum depth not exceeding 4 meter, average depth 2.75 meter deep. Number 5. Excavate trench maximum depth not exceeding 4 meter, average depth 3 meter deep. Number 6. Excavate trench maximum depth not exceeding 4 meter, average depth 3.25 meter deep. Number 7 is extra over for rock. Number 8, disposal of surface water. Number 9, aggregate bedding. Number 10, concrete backfill. And the last one, 225 mm VC pipe in meter. Next, this is stacking off list for manhole. This is a query list for the project. Excavation works. The first step is to identify the length. The length given from the drawing for MH1 to MH2 is 35 meter. The given length is from center to center, so measuring method for excavation length of pipe is the given length, deduct with the half manhole 1 and half manhole 2, deduct with the 2 times concrete surround and 2 times chambering. As you can see, our manhole diameter is 1200 mm diameter. Concrete surround is 150, for chambering is 150 for both sides. The total length of excavation is 33.35. Next, for width, we are using the formula outer diameter plus 300. So, for outer diameter, we have to take the diameter of pipe, which is 225 mm, and add 2 times thickness of pipe, which is 20 mm. Then we will add 300 to get the total width. The total width is 0.57. And then for depth, first to get the average depth, we have to add inlet and outlet and then divide by 2. To calculate the value of inlet and outlet, ground level minus invert level. After that, to get the total depth, average depth, add the thickness of channel which is 20 mm, and thickness of bedding, which is 150, refer from the drawing. So the total depth is 1.49. Next is excavation trench. The unit for excavating trench is in meter. So the length of excavate trench is taken from the excavation work, which is 33.35. The clause involved for excavation work is V.2. Point number 1. Excavating pipe trenches shall be given in meter, stating the starting level, the depth range in increment of 2 meter, and the average depth within the depth range to the nearest 0.25 meter. Point number 2. Trenches to receive pipe not exceeding 200 mm nominal size may be grouped together and so described. Trenches to receive pipe exceeding 200 mm nominal size shall be given separately, stating the size of the pipe. Extra over for excavating in rock. Trenches in rock as defined in clause D12.2 shall be described. Alternatively, rock may be given in meter as extra over the trench in which occurs. As per our drawing, we assume 5% from excavation works for excavating in rock. Now, let's take a look at the disposal of surface water. Disposal of surface water shall be given in accordance with the clause D15. There are no calculations involved in this clause, so as the unit of measurement is in item. Next is bedding. For our project, we assume the bedding used is bedding class A since it was not given in the drawing. The reason we choose the bedding class A is because all our pipeline is under road. The material for bedding class A is granular bedding. The unit for bedding is in meter, so the length of bedding is taken from excavation work, which is 33.35. Bedding shall be given in accordance with clause V.4, beds, benching, and coverings. Bed benching and covering shall each be given separately in meter, stating A. Nominal size of the pipe to be laid, B. Width and thickness of the bed benching, haunching, surround, and the like, C. Material and which the bed benching, haunching, surround, and the like are to be constructed. Any formwork required shall be deemed to be included.
Next is concrete grade 20. The unit for concrete grade 20 is meter squared. To calculate the concrete grade 20, the length will be taken from excavation work, which is 33.35. The width will be also taken from the excavation work, which is 0.57. So the total area is 18.84. Concrete grade 20 shall be given in accordance with clause D26. Filling to make up level over 250 mm thick shall be given in cubic meters. Such filling not exceeding 250 mm thick shall be given in square meters, stating the average thickness. Next, for sewer pipe, the unit for sewer pipe is in meter. The calculation of sewer pipe is length given less with half mh1 and half mh2. So the total length is 33.80. Sewer pipe shall be given in accordance with clause V.5.1. Pipe measured over all pipe fitting shall each be given in meter, stating the kind and quality of pipe, the nominal size, and the method of jointing. Any pipes not laid in bottom of the trench, example found in a multi-purpose trench, shall be given separately, and the depth stated in accordance with the depth range stages as clause V.2.1. Next, for manhole, there are two types of manhole, which is normal cylinder and partial cone manhole. MH1 is the normal cylinder manhole and MH5 is the partial cone manhole. Excavation works for MH1. The first step is to identify the radius of manhole. To find the radius, we have to take the diameter given, which is 1200 mm from drawing, add with 2 times of concrete surround, which is 150 mm, and then thickness of chambering 150 mm for both sides. Then the total will be divided by 2 to get the radius. The total radius for MH1 is 0.83. The second step is to identify the height of manhole. To find the height is average depth add with thickness of channel 20 mm, concrete base 400 mm, and concrete blinding 50 mm. The total height of MH1 is 1.67. The formula to get the volume of the excavated pit is pi r squared times h. So the total volume is 3.57. The calculation for MH5 is the same as MH1. The total radius for MH5 is 0.83 and the total height for MH5 is 3.14. So, the overall total volume for MH5 is 6.72. Since the total depth for MH1 is 1.67, it will be categorized as not exceeding 2 meter. For MH5, the total depth is 3.14, so it will be categorized as not exceeding 4 meter based on SMM2. Excavating pit shall be described in accordance with clause D10 and D11. D10, depth classification. Depth of excavation shall, unless otherwise required by this document, be classified as follows. Maximum depth not exceeding 0.25 meter, maximum depth not exceeding 1 meter, maximum depth not exceeding 2 meter, and maximum depth not exceeding 4 meter, and therefore in 2 meter stages. D11, starting level. The starting level shall be the ground level, reduced level, formation level, or other such levels from which excavation shall commence, and the appropriate level shall be so stated and described. Extra over for excavating in rock for MH1 and MH5 shall be described in accordance to clause D12(2). Excavation in rock shall be so described. Rock is defined as any material met with in excavation which is of such size or position that it can be removed only by means of wedge, levers, or special plant, explosive or chemicals. Alternatively, rock may be given as extra over each of the various types of excavation. As per our drawing, we assume 5% from excavation works for excavating in rock. The unit for excavation in rock is meter cube. The total excavation in rock for MH1 is 0.18 and for MH5 is 0.34. Disposal of surface water. Disposal of surface water for MH1 and MH5 shall be given in accordance with clause D15. There are no calculations involved in this clause as the unit of measurement is in item. Disposal excavated material. For MH1, we have divided it into two parts, which is volume A and volume B. For volume A, the radius 0.83 is taken from excavation pit radius. For height, 1.67 is also taken from the excavation pit, but we will deduct with manhole cover, which is 350 mm, to get a total height of 1.32. Total volume A is calculated by using the formula pi r squared h, which is 22/7 times with radius 0.83 squared times with 1.32 will get the total volume A of 2.82. For volume B, the radius is 0.60, which is the opening from the drawing. Add with PC makeup ring 2 times 120 mm to get 0.84. Then we will divide into 2 to get a total radius of 0.42. The height is the height of manhole cover, which is 350 mm. Total volume B is calculated by using the formula pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.42 squared times with 0.35 to get a total volume B of 0.19. Total volume for disposal of excavated material of MH1 is volume A add with volume B, which is 2.82 add with 0.19 to get 3.02. For MH5, it is a little bit different from MH1 since the shape of the manhole is partial cone. For disposal of excavated material, we are using formula of partial cone. The formula are 1/3 times pi times height times with small r squared plus small r times height plus with capital R squared. For MH5, we have divided it into three parts, which is volume A, volume B, and volume C. Volume A is cylinder, volume B is partial cone, and volume C is also cylinder. For volume A, the radius 0.83 is taken from the excavation works calculation. The height 3.14 is also taken from the excavation, but we need to deduct with manhole cover 100 mm, PC makeup ring 250 mm, PC slab cover 150 mm, which we assume because it's not given in the drawing, and partial cone 700 mm, which we also assume, to get a total of 1.94. The total volume A is calculated by using the formula pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.83 squared times with 1.94 to get a total volume of 4.15. Volume B is the partial cone area. For top radius, which is small r, is 0.60 given in the drawing. Add chambering 150 mm for both sides and concrete surround 2 times concrete surround 150 to get a total of 1.05 divided by 2, so the radius will be 0.53. For capital R, which is base radius, the total is taken from excavation works, which is 0.83. The height is assumed, height of partial cone, we assume 700. For total of volume B, we have used the formula of partial cone to get a total of 1.02. For volume C, the radius is 0.53, which is taken from top radius calculation from volume B. The height is manhole cover 100 mm, add with PC makeup ring 250 mm, add with PC slab cover, which is 150 mm, to get a total height of 0.50. The total volume C is calculated by using the cylinder formula, which is pi r squared times h, to get a total volume of 0.43. The total volume for disposal of excavated material is volume A at volume B at volume C, which is 4.15 at with 1.02 at with 0.43 to get 5.60. Disposal of excavated material shall be given in accordance with clause D19. Disposal of site. Excavated materials to be removed from site shall be given in cubic meters and so described, and the provision of a chute, dump or tip, including payment for royalties, fees, levies and other charges, shall be deemed to be included with the item unless otherwise stated. Next is filling to excavation. For MH1, to get the total volume of filling to excavation, we have to take the total volume of excavation less with total volume of disposal, which is 3.57 less with 3.02 to get 0.55. For MH5, to get the total volume for filling to excavation, we also have to take the total volume of excavation, deduct with total volume of disposal, which is 6.72, deduct with 5.60 to get 1.11. Filling to excavation shall be given in accordance with clause D26. Filling to makeup levels over 250 mm thick shall be given in cubic meters. Such filling not exceeding 250 mm thick shall be given in square meters, stating the average thickness. Concrete blinding. The calculation for concrete blinding for MH1 and MH5 is the same, which is the radius 0.83 is taken from the excavation bit calculation. The height is the thickness of concrete blinding, which is 50 mm, 0.05, and to get the total volume, we calculated it by using the formula of pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.83 squared times with 0.05 to get a total volume of 0.11. Concrete binding shall be given in accordance to clause F.2.1. classification of size. Where the thickness is required to be stated in accordance with this clause, the classification shall be in one of the following categories: not exceeding 100 mm, 100 mm but not exceeding 150 mm, 150 mm but not exceeding 300 mm, and exceeding 300 mm. Next is concrete bed. The calculation of concrete bed for MH1 and MH5 is the same. Radius 0.83 is taken from the excavation works. Height is the concrete base, which is 400 mm, taken from the drawing. And to get the total volume of concrete bed, we have used the formula pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.83 squared times with 0.40 to get the total of 0.86. Concrete bed shall be given in accordance with clause F.3.8. Beds which shall be deemed to include thickening but to exclude upstand, stating the thickness as clause F.2.1. Bed for forming road, footpath and paving shall each be so described. Next is concrete bed. The calculation of concrete bed for MH1 and MH5 is the same. Radius 0.83 is taken from the excavation works. Height is the concrete base, which is 400 mm, taken from the drawing. And to get the total volume of concrete bed, we have used the formula pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.83 squared times with 0.40 to get the total of 0.86. Concrete bed shall be given in accordance with clause F.3.8. Beds which shall be deemed to include thickening but to exclude upstand, stating the thickness as clause F.2.1. Bed for forming road, footpath and paving shall each be so described. F.2.1 is the classification of size, where the thickness is required to be stated in accordance with this clause. The classification shall be in one of the following categories: not exceeding 100 mm, exceeding 100 mm but not exceeding 150 mm, exceeding 150 mm but not exceeding 300 mm, and exceeding 300 mm. Next is formwork concrete bed. For MH1 and MH5, the calculation is the same, which is by using the formula 2 pi r to get the length of the formwork. 2 times pi, 22/7, times with radius 0.83, taken from the excavation pit radius, to get the total of 5.19. Formwork to concrete bed shall be given in accordance to clause F.11.1. Formwork to edges and faces of foundation, which shall be deemed to include bases, bulkheads and bed, and formwork to ground beam where exceeding 1 meter high shall each be given separately in square meter. Where not exceeding 1 meter high, they shall be given in meters, stating the height in the following categories: not exceeding 250 mm high, exceeding 250 but not exceeding 500 mm high, exceeding 500 mm high but not exceeding 1 meter high. BRC. For MH1 and MH5, the calculation is the same. The radius is 0.83, taken from the excavation. Deduct with concrete cover 25 mm, which is we assume because it's not given in the drawing, to get a total radius of 0.83. To get the total area for BRC, we have used the formula of pi r squared, which is 22/7 times with 0.80 squared, to get a total of 2.00. BRC shall be given in accordance to clause F.9.3. Fabric reinforcement shall be given in square meter, stating the mesh, the weight per square meter, and the minimum extent of side and end laps. Classification shall be in accordance with clause F.8.4. Next is concrete benching and channel. Concrete benching and channel shall be given in accordance to clause V.6.5. Channels, concrete benching, step iron, cover, and intercepting traps shall each be enumerated, separately stating the type, the quality, the size, and the method of bedding. For our concrete benching, for MH1 and MH5 both have only one concrete benching. For channels, also for MH1 and MH5 both only have one channel. For precast manhole, it shall be given in accordance with clause V.6.1. Some manhole, soakways and the like shall each be grouped together and given in detail under an appropriate heading stating the number. For our project, precast manhole for MH1 is only one numbers, and for MH5 is also one number. Concrete surround. To calculate the concrete surround for MH1, firstly we have to calculate the volume cylinder external. The radius 0.83 is total radius from excavation. Height is 1.2. Is taken from the average depth of MH1. Deduct with PC slab cover 150 mm, manhole cover 350 mm, pipe nominal 2 to 5 mm, and pipe thickness 20 mm to get a total height of 0.46. To calculate the volume of cylinder external, we are using the formula of pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.83 squared times with 0.46 to get a total volume of 0.97. Secondly, we have to calculate the volume cylinder internal. The radius 0.60 is the internal diameter plus chambering divided by 2. The height is 0.46 taken from the height from cylinder external. To get the volume, we calculated using the formula pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.60 squared times with 0.46 to get the total volume of 0.51. The volume of cylinder external deduct with internal, 0.97 minus 0.51, we will get 0.46. Total volume for concrete surround of MH1 is 0.46. Concrete surround for MH5, firstly we have to calculate the volume A external. The radius is 0.83 taken from the total radius from excavation. The height is 2.67, the average depth of MH5. Deduct with manhole cover 100 mm, PC makeup ring 250 mm, PC slab cover 150 mm, partial cone 700 mm, pipe nominal 2 to 5 mm, pipe thickness 20 mm to get a total height of 1.23. Total volume for volume A external is calculated by using the formula pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.83 squared times with 1.23 to get a total volume of 2.62. Then we will calculate the volume A internal. The radius 0.68 is the internal diameter at with chambering divide by 2. The height is 1.23 taken from the volume A external. The total volume A internal is calculated using the formula of pi r squared times h, which is 22/7 times with 0.68 squared times with 1.23 to get the total volume of 1.75. Volume A external deduct with volume A internal, 2.62 minus 1.75 to get 0.87. Then volume partial cone external for top radius is 0.53 taken from the top radius length. The base radius is 0.83 taken from the excavation. The height of partial cone is 0.70, which we assume. The total volume for partial cone external, we have calculated by using the partial cone formula to get a total volume of 1.02. For volume of partial cone internal, the top radius 0.60, add with chambering, 2 times chambering, to get the total of 0.75, divide by 2, total top radius is 0.38. The base radius is 0.68, internal diameter plus chambering, divide by 2. The height is assumed 0.70. Total volume for partial cone internal, we have used the formula of partial cone to get the total volume of 0.62. So volume of partial cone external deduct with volume of partial cone internal, 1.02 minus 0.62 to get a total of 0.40. Total volume for concrete surround is volume A deduct with volume B, which is partial cone, 0.87 deduct 0.40 to get a total concrete surround of 1.27. Concrete surround shall be given in accordance with clause F.3.1. All member, unless otherwise stated, shall be given in cubic meter and described in the category set out in clause F.3.2 to F.3.21. Formwork to concrete surround. To calculate the formwork of concrete surround for MH1, the radius 0.83 is taken from the excavation, height is 0.46 taken from the concrete surround, and the total area is calculated by using the formula 2 pi r times h, which is 2 times 22/7 times with 0.83 times with 0.46 to get a total area of 2.36. For MH5, to calculate the concrete surround, first we have to calculate area A cylinder. Radius 0.83 is taken from excavation. The height 1.23 is taken from concrete surround. To get the total for area A, we have used the formula 2 times pi times r times h, which is 2 times 22/7 times with 0.83 times with 1.23 to get the total of 6.35. Then we have to calculate the area B, which is the partial cone area. The top radius is 0.53. The base radius is 0.83. The height is 0.70, which we assume. Total is we have used the partial cone formula to get the total of area B, which is 3.23. The total area for formwork of concrete surround is area A plus with area B, which is 6.35 plus with 3.23 to get 9.58. Formwork to concrete surround shall be given in accordance to clause F.10.7 and F.11.1. F.10.7, formwork to curved surfaces shall be described stating the geometrical nature and the radius. F.11.1, formwork to foundation and beds, formwork to edges and faces of foundation which shall be deemed to include bases, pickup and bed, and formwork to ground beam where exceeding 1 meter high shall be given separately in square meter, where not exceeding 1 meter high shall be given in meters, stating the height in following categories: not exceeding 250 mm high, exceeding 250 but not exceeding 500 mm high, exceeding 500 mm high but not exceeding 1 meter high. Next is step iron, PC slab cover, PC makeup ring and iron cover. All of these items shall be given in accordance with clause V.6.5. Channels, concrete benching, step iron, covers and intercepting traps shall each be given enumerated separately, stating the type, the quality, size and method of bedding. For MH1, step iron is in 2 numbers, PC slab cover is in 1 number, PC makeup ring is in 1 number and iron cover is also in 1 number. For MH5, step iron is in 7 numbers, PC slab cover is in 1 number, PC makeup ring is in 1 number and iron cover is also in 1 number. Connection to existing. For MH1 and MH5 should both be given in accordance to a clause V.7.2. Connection to existing work shall each be enumerated, stating the size of pipe or drain and the type of structure, cutting, opening, making good, jointing, and shall be deemed to be included with the term. Testing. For MH1 and MH5, both shall be given in accordance to clause V.8. Testing the drainage system shall be given as an item stating the method of testing. This is the schedule of manhole 1. This is the schedule of manhole 5. This is the overall BQ of our project.